So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you.
Not very much unlike where I grew up in a place called Claymont, Delaware, which has more oil refineries than Houston, Texas had in its region, just across the line in Pennsylvania. And all the prevailing winds were our way. I just lived up the road. In an apartment complex when we moved to Delaware. And just up the road, a little school I went to, Holy Rosary Grade School. And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on their windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. But that's the past. And we're gonna build a different future.
All right, so this was taken from a page of the President Biden's current health summary from November of 2021 PDF, where a doctor gives a pretty detailed summary, roughly about 6 pages of various things dealing with President Joe Biden's health. Number 8 on the list is skin cancer surveillance routine. And they stated here that, as you can see directly in front of you, he has had several localized non-melanoma skin cancers removed, right, with surgery before he started his presidency. So yes, at a point in time, he did have this. But when you listen to Biden speak, he is in a sense speaking of present times, and he correlated that with the fact that where he lived at the time, they had a whole bunch of refineries there that were letting off all of these toxic clouds of gas and and different things of this nature, which led to him developing cancer along with other individuals, per what he stated. And the main thing that I want to point out to people is this: once people start getting older, the filter on what to say and not to say, that slowly disappears, that slowly starts to break down, and it just becomes what I'm going to say, right? You happen to have those Freudian slips where old people will state things that are harsh and very true, but they don't have a filter to it. They don't know how to, in a sense, sugarcoat it so that people can accept it, a little bit easier, or take the truth in a different type of light. And you have other individuals out here who will decide to body block or play a sleight of hand, as to basically say, don't pay attention to this, look at this over here, this over here is way more important, versus people actually trying to delve in, critically think, ask more questions, and try to figure out if what he is saying is 100% true. Because if what he's saying is 100% true, then that causes a dilemma, that causes a problem. Because if the leader of the free world is not at his full capacity, that means that the country is not at their full capacity either. Because people will look at a leader in reflection, right? They'll look at the country like, okay, well, the country is jacked, but the leader is strong, right? So it's like, no matter how the country may seem, it's going to be very hard to really do anything to a country because the leader is still in 100% shape. But if you're looking at a leader or a king, for instance, take it back to Arthurian or Knights of the Round Table, whatever you want to consider, take it back then. If the enemy basically knew that a king was not at his full capacity, not mentally, there, that his body is at 50% energy, that's the point in time that enemies or other people are going to decide to attack. Because if a king cannot defend himself or his family, a king will not be able to defend his land and his kingdom. So when you look at it in that aspect, and then you look at America, and you look at some of the news outlets trying to say otherwise, and that he misspoke and these, other things, that's them from that perspective that I listed, trying to protect or project strength when realistically the strength might not really be there. Right? It's almost in the same vein of when people say fake it till you make it. But in this circumstance, faking it till you make it is a little bit dangerous, because America at this moment in time is already it's already teetering. It's already been that way, for a very long time. But especially dealing with the way that the economy is, dealing with the way that people are at this moment in time, dealing with the social injustice issues that we're dealing with, and so on and so on and so on. you know it almost in a sense makes a full collapse seem 100% possible if you just add in the right variables at the right times, and yada yada yada, and just let everything play out how it's going to play out. And my main question to people is this: if you believe or feel from what you were able to hear, the same thing that I heard, right, that he has cancer, do you feel that Biden as a president should then step down? And do you feel that somebody else who has their faculties in order, their health is pretty much in order, and they have way more of a life expectancy, and their mental capabilities are not even in question, do you feel that that other person should then step in for Biden and run the country up until, further notice? Because, this is a pretty iffy situation. Because if I'm going to look at this from a logical standpoint, a person that is suffering or going through a severe health issue, 100% they should step down. They should relinquish their role and give it to somebody else who is better suited for that role, so that the person can go and live out the rest of their lives, or they can, heal how they need to heal. Because being the president of the United States, or leader of a corporation, whatever you want to call it, that's a very stressful environment continuously. On top of the fact that you're, having to deal with and manage other people. On top of the whole other thing that you got to deal with, critiques from not only outside sources, but also from within as well. On top of the fact that you got to manage your own family, on top of the fact that you got to manage yourself as well. So all of those things, in a sense, have to be managed and looked at, in a sense, by one person. There is not, in a sense, a possible way that a person that is actually sick will be able to heal properly if they are dealing in a stressful environment. Any doctor worth their salt would literally make that argument, because we already know for men that stress is a killer. So if that is the case, what do you think that is going to do to somebody's mental and to their body if they're dealing with a stressful environment on top of dealing with an illness internally? So like I said, my question to people is, do you think that if this is true, that President Joe Biden should step down and somebody else should take his place at this moment in time up until further notice?